What's up, YouTube? It's your boy ChasmRift here, and today we got ourselves another episode, kind of like a things I see on Twitter. Now, this one is kind of not necessarily just a specific topic at hand, but recently 2K22 came out, and people were talking about how on launch the servers were not working for it, and at the same time we're starting to hear rumors and murmurs from people who are playing the Call of Duty Vanguard beta about some of the issues with that game happening. Of course, that one I'll give it a slight pass because it is in beta. The whole point of it is to get feedback to the developers so they know what needs to actually be adjusted. But you guys probably know what my opinion is going to be on some of this stuff. I'm kind of just going to give like my 2 cents on games that come out broken on launch, games that come out broken but then they actually get better over time, and then games that come out good and in an ironic sense actually become bad over time. So yeah, we'll just go on right on into it. So games that come out broken on launch. Now I can actually think of many games, and I'm pretty sure you guys could as well, of games that just came out and they were just absolutely abysmal on launch. Games I could think of would be obviously like the NBA 2K series and the Madden games. Every year it's just rehashed stuff that just comes out and it's barely any different than the previous games, but you gotta pay $60 just to play because they shut down the servers on the previous titles, which is, in my opinion, kind of unethical. Like, that's just really screwy to mess with your fans like that. And it's kind of because they had to deal with this whole yearly cycle of making games under these contracts for these leagues. And I can't go into all the specifics because I don't know everything. But man, it's a bad look when I think Madden 20, people went into replay mode and looked into the stadiums and they saw the Madden 19 logo up there instead of the current game logo, meaning that they really did reuse assets and they didn't even cover their bases. There are many games out there that did come out broken, and it's for that reason that I actually stopped buying games day one. If I had to look back on the last 2 years, I could list about 4 games that I bought day one, and that is Dragon Ball FighterZ, Mortal Kombat 11, Legend of Zelda Link Awakening, and Pokemon Shield. Those are the last 4 games in the last 2 years that I bought on day one, because I just don't buy games day one unless I know for sure that the game's going to be a banger. Like, if the company has a shady past with me, or I just don't feel that the game's going to come out well, I hesitate, because it's unacceptable when a game comes out and it's just broken. Now, some of you, I doubt it, but there are some people out there who may say, oh, well, I don't care, it's just $60, you know, like, at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. I hear you, I get you, but the issue with what's going on is that it's the principle of the money. When someone provides a service or institution provides a service, you provide the money. If the service is subpar, you would either demand a refund or you will never go back to said service. Now, we'll use an example of getting an oil change for your vehicle. Okay, you pay for the oil change and they do it for you, and then next thing you know, you find out that your car is leaking oil. That means you gotta go and get another oil change, or some issues are gonna happen with your car. That's unacceptable, and you'll probably be mad. Now, somebody who's sitting here like, oh, well, you know, it's just money, you know, just a couple dollars. Okay, it's just the principle of the money. So whenever I see like, hey, developers made a game and it's breaking consoles, or they made a game and it's unplayable, it's glitching out, it's causing this, that, and the other, I don't think you should get a pass for that. Now, note, I don't think it's right to harass the developers, because Joe Schmo, who's working to develop the game, isn't necessarily at fault when you got their lead developers and directors who are telling them what to do, and then you sometimes have these billion-dollar publishers who are telling them, hey, you must release the game on this specific date. And then you also have, on the flip side, in the case of Cyberpunk 2077, where a game kind of built up hype for just being unique, just organically built up hype for looking very promising, and on the other hand, you also have fans who just really expected this game to come out because it was just that hype and they already had delays. Again, I don't think it's acceptable to have a game come out broken on launch, and I don't think any type of rewards to give the players because the game is broken on launch, whether it be free DLC or free in-game currency, makes up for that situation. In fact, I actually was going to make a video about this about a year and a half, 2 years ago, but I kind of wanted to dub last gen as like probably the worst generation for gaming. Now, don't get me wrong, there was a bunch of great things happen in gaming, a lot of bangers, whether it be a lot of games coming out that's free, whether that's good or bad, a lot of subscription-based services such as Xbox Game Pass, EA Play, PlayStation Plus. Like, there's just a lot that happened in this past generation. Epic Games as well started out releasing free games, and they taken over the market and kind of shifted things. So there was a lot of good, don't get me wrong. But we had so many games come out that were broken, or just had this very unethical nuance to them, like the Battlefronts and all these other games, and it's kind of disheartening. Now, let's move on to the other one, where games do come out broken, but they get better. Okay? Now, this one I'm kind of like on an iffy path with. Now, I, for one, don't think that you should ever give praise to developers or a studio whenever they release a game that's broken, because it's basically them handing out a bad service and people are just accepting it. There's been a couple games out there like the No Man's Skies of the world and even Assassin's Creed Unity, where the game came out absolutely dog crap, but the game has gotten better through updates and patches. And while that's good and all, and that's, you know, I say we should give props to the developers for sticking through with it instead of just running away people's money, I don't think it's worth praising them, because again, when you deliver a product out day one, it should be ready to go. Now, if you deliver the game out and then there turns out to be an unexpected bug, that's fine. That's something that you probably didn't see coming out. But when the game is littered and it's just bad and it's full of false promises to the point where they gotta make statements or developers go ghost and silent on it, that's an issue. And I just don't know how to slice it. If you like a game because you didn't play it day one but you bought it a year later, or you got it for free after a few months and you enjoy it, that's cool. But again, like, I don't think you should go out here praising them as if the developer didn't release a bad product originally. That's just my 2 cents on it. You can like the game, you can say, oh, the game's fun, but again, I don't think we should give these developers like a sympathy award for fixing something that should have not been broken. And then finally, we have games that come out good, but they get bad over time. And I can't really think of too many out there. Like, it's very rare you see a game that's good that gets bad over time, and usually that's just like the perspective of a disgruntled player. But I have to probably say Pokemon Go. Now, you probably thinking to yourself like, man, Pokemon Go was unplayable at the start and it's not nearly as expansive as it is now. That is true, but from a retrospect, we could look at what Pokemon Go did and how fun it was when it first came out, and how simple and pretty much just how innovative it was for at the time. Now, obviously, there was issues involving like not being able to boot up in the game, and you sometimes had crashes here and there. But a lot of that's because there was an unexpected wave of people who wanted to actually play Pokemon Go. Like, that's something that is kind of unanticipated for developers whenever they're making a game. And of course, Pokemon Go is a mobile app and not really like a full-fledged video game. But I give them a pass right there when it comes to, you know, server issues they had in the past and people not being able to load up. But all in all, I think Pokemon Go is a successful game on launch. And Niantic did everything they could to actually try to make it playable for people, such as disabling the footsteps and changing up how you're able to track Pokemon in the game and whatnot. And they slowly tried to fix things. It's just that as of recently, Pokemon Go has gone down the crapper. You know, with Niantic starting to nickel and dime everything's a paid event these days. And they're also very tone deaf to their community, such as releasing a 12-kilometer egg where you have to walk 12 kilometers to hatch it in the midst of a pandemic. They originally increased the distance for spinning Pokéstop, as in you don't have to be as close to the Pokéstop than you originally have to if you wanted to spin it. They absolutely, not only did they put that in there, which is a good thing, they removed it in the midst of the pandemic. They're still having events where they want people to meet up and whatnot during the pandemic. And of course, they're still releasing these special research tasks that require you to either walk to hatch eggs, or for the new quest that you pay $12 for, one of the steps require you to walk 151 kilometers, again, in a pandemic. Now, you could argue like, oh, well, this is clearly meant to be used outside of the pandemic, or these are for people who aren't at risk. The problem is, there are so many people who are going to have to be gatekeeped from their own game because Niantic decided to be tone deaf instead of adjusting for what's going on in the world. Now, games like this, I'm sorry, but we gotta call them out. Like, developers shouldn't sit here and think that they're above criticism or they're above their own community. Games are a service. You provide a service, we provide you money. Okay? If you have a free service, the money should be optional. You shouldn't make it to where you have to incentivize people to pay money to unlock rewards. Or if that is going to be your model, you shouldn't put in a way where your free-to-play players are pretty much screwed over, or in this case, your players who must stay in quarantine because, you know, no one wants to die playing Pokemon Go. You have to find a way to find balance and fine-tune what needs to be put out there mainstream for your game. Now, that's pretty much all I got to say, guys. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below about all this. Also, have you guys noticed that a lot more games are having betas, which I guess I want to know your guys' opinion. For me, that's a bad precedent when there's so many games having betas, because it means that there are either not enough QA testers, you know, testing the game and make sure that it's polished, or they're relying too much on their communities to figure out their own issues. That's my interpretation of it. That's my take. I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on that and everything else that I said. Anyway, I'm about to get out of here. Bye.